The massive research vessel Horizon drifted slowly through the debris field, its powerful scanning beams cutting through the darkness of deep space. Inside the ship's main research lab, Tom Reed couldn't help but smile as he watched the alien crew members go about their work. As the only human aboard, he often found himself amused by their steadfast belief in their technological superiority. "Another piece of space junk," declared Marcus, the blue-skinned Centaurian chief researcher, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the latest scan results. "This sector is full of remains from your species' first attempts at space warfare." Tom kept his thoughts to himself as he looked at the holographic display. The scan showed something massive, far larger than the usual debris they encountered. His heart skipped a beat when he recognized the familiar shape emerging from the data. "Sir," called out one of the junior researchers, her antenna twitching with excitement, "we're detecting a large structure ahead. It appears to be intact." Marcus moved to the main viewing screen, his long fingers dancing across the control panel. The image zoomed in, revealing a dark shape against the backdrop of stars. As the Horizon's external lights illuminated the object, Tom's suspicions were confirmed. There it was, a human warship, over 2 kilometers long, its dark hull barely reflecting the searchlights. Despite 2 centuries of floating in space, its structure remained largely intact. The name on its hull, partially visible through the cosmic dust, read HMS Thunder. "Impossible," Tom whispered, drawing curious looks from his alien colleagues. He knew this ship. Every human child knew this ship. The HMS Thunder was legendary, one of the most powerful warships ever built by humanity, mysteriously lost during the First Interstellar War. Marcus let out a sound that might have been a laugh. "Look at the primitive weapon ports. Kinetic weapons. Can you believe they actually threw metal at each other?" He shook his head, all 4 eyes showing amusement. "At least it will make an interesting addition to our archaeological records." The research team quickly organized a preliminary scan. Their advanced sensors swept over the ancient warship, building a detailed 3-dimensional model on their displays. The alien crew members pointed out what they considered to be design flaws and outdated technology, each observation accompanied by barely concealed snickers. "No energy signatures," reported the sensor operator. "The ship is completely dead." "As expected," Marcus said, his tone dismissive. Human technology from this era was notoriously unreliable. It's remarkable it didn't blow itself up. Tom approached the holographic display, studying the ship's familiar lines. The Thunder-class warships were humanity's pride, the peak of human military engineering before the Treaty of Centauri forced them to adopt safer technologies. But something about this discovery didn't add up. "The hull integrity is at 98.7%, Tom noted, pointing to the scan data. "That's unusually high for a derelict vessel of this age." Marcus waved a hand dismissively. "Primitive metals can be surprisingly durable. Not everything needs to be made of smart materials, I suppose." He turned to his crew. "Prepare for a detailed archaeological survey. We'll document this relic and add it to the museum archives." As the alien crew busied themselves with preparation, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something important. The Thunder hadn't been destroyed in battle. It hadn't been crushed by gravity or torn apart by space debris. It was just waiting. The ship's official designation caught his eye in the scan data. HMS Thunder, Planet Killer class warship. Tom knew that classification had been deliberately obscured in most historical records. These aliens had no idea what they were actually looking at. "Shall we begin boarding preparations?" Marcus asked, already heading toward the equipment room. "Yes," Tom replied, hiding his growing excitement. "But we should be careful. Old ships like this sometimes hold surprises." Marcus laughed again, the sound echoing through the lab. "The only surprise here is how your species managed to reach the stars with such primitive technology." As the team prepared for their expedition, Tom took one last look at the massive warship floating silently in space. He knew better than to underestimate human engineering. After all, there was a reason why certain human technologies had been banned by interstellar law. The HMS Thunder might look like a relic, but Tom suspected it was far from dead. It was just sleeping. The shuttle bay of HMS Thunder loomed before them, a massive dark maw in the ancient warship's hull. Tom Reed watched through the transport's viewport as their small vessel's landing lights illuminated the weathered metal surfaces. Behind him, Marcus and his team of alien researchers checked their equipment one final time. "Remember," Marcus announced, his 4 eyes glowing with academic excitement, "this is a delicate archaeological site. Try not to disturb anything more than necessary." He glanced at Tom with what might have been pity. "We wouldn't want to damage this piece of human history, primitive as it may be." The transport ship touched down with a gentle thud. As the airlock cycled, Tom checked his suit's oxygen levels. The alien environmental suits were far more advanced than his standard human model, a fact that Marcus had pointed out several times during their preparation. The team stepped into the massive shuttle bay, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness. Rows of ancient fighters and dropships sat silently in their berths, covered in 2 centuries of space dust. Tom noticed how the alien researchers immediately began scanning and documenting everything, but their scans kept showing unusual readings. "These readings make no sense," one of the junior researchers said, tapping her scanner in frustration. "The metal composition. It's not matching any known human alloys from this period." Tom smiled behind his helmet visor. Of course it wouldn't match. The Thunder-class ships had been built with materials that were still classified, even 2 centuries later. Marcus led them toward the main corridor. "Look at these manual door controls," he said, running his fingers along the emergency release lever. "No neural interfaces, no AI assistance. How do they function in combat situations?" The doors slid open with surprising smoothness, revealing a corridor that stretched into darkness. Their lights showed no signs of battle damage or decay. Everything was pristine, preserved in the vacuum of space. "The preservation is remarkable," another researcher noted, her antenna twitching. "Almost too perfect." They made their way deeper into the ship, passing crew quarters, storage rooms, and weapon stations. Tom noticed how the alien team kept missing crucial details, the subtle markings that indicated hidden compartments, the seemingly decorative patterns that were actually part of the ship's backup systems. "The bridge should be 3 levels up," Tom suggested, recognizing their location from historical records. The team used their suit's anti-grav functions to float up through a maintenance shaft. The bridge doors were sealed, but Marcus quickly deployed a modern bypass device. "This should override any primitive security measures," he said confidently. The device sparked and died. "Impossible," Marcus muttered, replacing it with another. The second device failed just as quickly. "These are simple mechanical locks. They shouldn't be able to resist our technology." Tom stepped forward. "Maybe we should try it the old-fashioned way." He located the manual release panel and pulled it in a specific sequence. The doors slid open silently. The bridge was massive, with stations for navigation, weapons, communications, and ship operations spread out in efficient patterns. The alien team immediately spread out, scanning and documenting everything. Their excitement was palpable, even through their environmental suits. "Look at all these physical controls," Marcus marveled, running his hand along a weapons console. "Buttons, switches, levers. How inefficient. Modern ships operate purely through thought interfaces." Tom moved to the captain's chair, his light falling on a small panel in its arm. Something about its position triggered a memory from his military history studies. He pressed it gently. A soft hum filled the bridge, barely noticeable through their suits. The alien team froze. "What was that?" one of them asked nervously. "Probably just settling metal," Marcus replied, but his 4 eyes darted around uncertainly. "This ship has been dead for centuries." Tom moved to one of the main consoles, brushing away the dust. Beneath it, tiny status lights were blinking, so faint they were barely visible. The ship wasn't dead. It was in hibernation, and he had just triggered its wake-up sequence. "We should check the engine room," he suggested casually, hiding his growing excitement. "I'm sure you'll find the primitive propulsion systems fascinating." As they left the bridge, none of the alien researchers noticed that the security cameras had begun tracking their movement, or that the ship's ancient quantum core was slowly building power. The HMS Thunder was awakening, one system at a time, responding to protocols that had lain dormant for 200 years. The aliens laughed at the old controls and simple displays, not realizing that humanity had learned long ago. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the most reliable and the most dangerous. Deep in the engine room of HMS Thunder, Marcus was in the middle of another lecture about primitive human technology when the emergency alert came through. The high-pitched tone in their environmental suits made everyone jump. "Research Vessel Horizon to Survey Team," a panicked voice crackled through their comms. "We have multiple hostile ships approaching. Pirates. They've somehow disabled our main defense systems." Tom watched the alien team's confidence drain away. Marcus's blue skin turned a pale shade as he activated his suit's holographic display. The image showed 5 sleek pirate vessels approaching their position, their weapons already charged. "Impossible," Marcus whispered. "Our shields are the most advanced in known space. They can't just be disabled." Another transmission cut through the silence. A rough voice, filled with malice. "Attention research vessels. This is Captain Drake of the Crimson Blade. Your ships are disabled. Your cargo and technology now belong to us. Resist, and we will not be merciful." The alien research team huddled together, their earlier arrogance replaced by fear. Their modern ships, for all their advanced technology, were defenseless. The pirates had found a way to bypass their sophisticated defense systems. "We need to get back to the horizon," Marcus declared, already moving toward the exit. "We can try to reach the emergency jump drive before." "Wait," Tom said, his voice calm. He hadn't moved from his position near an old control panel. "I don't think we should leave just yet." Marcus's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "This is no time for archaeological interest. Those are Outer Rim pirates. They're known for their brutality." Tom smiled behind his helmet visor. "You've all spent hours telling me how primitive and simple this ship is, how its technology is outdated and useless." He ran his hand along the control panel, brushing away centuries of dust. "But did you ever wonder why humans agreed to stop building ships like this?" The alien researchers stared at him as understanding slowly dawned in their eyes. "The Treaty of Centauri," one of them whispered. "These ships weren't banned because they were primitive. They were banned because they were too powerful," Tom finished. He pressed a sequence of buttons on the panel. Deep within the ship, something massive began to move. The deck beneath their feet vibrated slightly. "What are you doing?" Marcus demanded, his antenna rigid with anxiety. "Waking her up," Tom replied. "HMS Thunder isn't just a warship. She's a planet killer. The last of her kind, designed to fight entire fleets." He moved to another console, his movements sure and practiced. "And she's been waiting for the right moment." The ship's emergency lights flickered to life, casting a red glow throughout the engine room. A deep rumble echoed through the hull as ancient systems began powering up. "Attention unauthorized vessels." A new voice suddenly boomed across all communication channels. It was the ship's AI, its tone cold and precise. "You have entered the operational range of HMS Thunder, a planet killer-class warship of the human space fleet. You have 30 seconds to withdraw." Through their suit displays, they watched as the pirate ships halted their approach. The massive form of HMS Thunder was now visible to them, its hull beginning to glow with power as dormant systems came online. "They're powering up their weapons," one of the researchers reported, monitoring the scans. "The pirates don't believe it's a threat." Tom moved to the main engineering station, his fingers flying over the controls. "Their mistake. Modern shields are designed to stop energy weapons and plasma bolts." He looked up at the alien team. But do you know what they're not very good at stopping? The ship shuddered as massive panels along its hull slid open, revealing row after row of what the alien researchers had dismissed as primitive weapons. Kinetic bombardment rails, Tom said with pride. Tungsten rods accelerated to relativistic speeds. No fancy energy fields. No plasma weapons. Just good old-fashioned human ingenuity. Marcus stared at the displays in awe as HMS Thunder's true nature was revealed. The ship they had mocked as a relic was now fully awake, its ancient weapons primed and ready. The pirates were about to learn why humanity had been forced to sign treaties limiting their military technology. Sometimes, the old ways were the deadliest. The pirate ships hung in space like predators about to strike, their modern weapons charged and ready. Inside HMS Thunder's command center, Tom Reed worked quickly at the main control station while the alien research team watched in stunned silence. "Ship's AI, status report," Tom commanded, his voice steady despite the tension. "All primary systems at 85% capacity and rising." The AI responded, its voice echoing through the vast bridge. "Weapons grid charging. Hull integrity at 98.7%. Combat protocols active." Marcus floated closer to Tom, his four eyes wide with disbelief. "How do you know all these protocols? These systems should be ancient history." Tom's fingers danced across the controls, bringing up detailed schematics of the ship. Because HMS Thunder isn't just any warship. She's the prototype that changed everything. My grandfather was one of her engineers. The alien researchers gathered around the main display, watching as system after system came online. What they had dismissed as primitive technology was revealing itself to be something far more sophisticated. "Look at these power readings," one of the junior researchers exclaimed. "The quantum core. It's unlike anything in our database." Tom nodded. "Human ships were never primitive. We just thought differently. While other species focused on energy shields and plasma weapons, we perfected the art of throwing very large rocks very, very fast." A warning alarm blared through the ship. The pirate fleet was making its move. "Incoming transmission," the AI announced. Captain Drake's voice filled the bridge, dripping with amusement. "A Thunder-class vessel. How quaint. Stand down, Relic. Your outdated weapons can't penetrate our shields." Tom accessed the captain's secure console, revealing classified files that had been hidden for 2 centuries. "You know what's interesting about human warfare?" he asked the alien team as he worked. "We never really advanced past kinetic weapons. We just got better at hiding how powerful they were." The main screen lit up with detailed schematics of the ship's true capabilities. The alien researchers gasped as they saw what they had missed in their scans. "Those aren't just railguns," Marcus whispered, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. They're mass drivers, capable of accelerating projectiles too." "Relativistic speeds," Tom finished. "Modern shields are great at stopping energy weapons, but they have a critical weakness. They can't stop something moving fast enough. Physics won't allow it." Through the bridge windows, they watched as panels along Thunder's hull continued to open, revealing rows of what looked like simple metal tubes. But the alien team now understood what they were seeing. Each tube was a mass driver capable of launching projectiles at speeds that defied modern defensive technology. "Secondary systems online," the AI reported. "All weapon stations manned by automated systems. Targeting computers active." Tom accessed the final set of encrypted commands. "My grandfather left these codes for a reason. He knew someday someone would need the Thunder again." The ship hummed with power, its ancient systems working in perfect harmony. What the alien researchers had seen as outdated technology was actually carefully disguised sophistication. Every primitive feature had a hidden purpose. But why hide such power? One of the researchers asked. "Why make it look outdated?" Tom smiled grimly. "Because sometimes the best weapon is one your enemy underestimates." The Treaty of Centauri didn't ban these ships because they were dangerous. They banned them because they were terrifying. The main screen showed the pirate ships adjusting their positions, still confident in their superior technology. They had no idea they were facing a weapon designed to fight wars against entire fleets. HMS Thunder, ready for combat, the AI announced, awaiting final authorization. Tom looked at Marcus and his team. You might want to hold on to something. What you're about to see is why humanity agreed to stop building ships like this. He entered the final command code, and Thunder's full power surged through her systems. The ship that had been dismissed as a relic was now fully awake, her weapons primed and ready to remind the galaxy why human engineering was never to be underestimated. The pirates were about to learn that sometimes the old ways were the most effective and the most deadly. The bridge of HMS Thunder thrummed with power as ancient systems roared to life. Warning klaxons blared through the massive warship as targeting computers locked onto the pirate vessels. Tom Reed stood at the main weapons console, his hand steady on the controls while the alien research team watched in awe. Final warning issued to hostile vessels, the ship's AI announced, its voice resonating through the command center. No response received. Weapons free in 30 seconds. Marcus pressed himself against a wall, his blue skin almost white with anxiety. Those pirate ships, they have the most advanced shields in the outer rim. Nothing can penetrate them. Tom's fingers flew across the weapon controls, bringing up targeting solutions. Want to know something interesting about human warfare? He asked, never taking his eyes off the displays. We learned early that the best defense isn't an impenetrable shield. It's making sure your enemy can't hit you in the first place. The main screen showed Thunder's weapons powering up. What the aliens had mistaken for simple tubes were revealing their true nature. Each primitive railgun was actually a sophisticated mass driver designed to accelerate projectiles to speeds that modern shields simply couldn't handle. Hull polarization complete, the AI reported. All mass drivers charged, loading tungsten rods. One of the junior researchers floated closer to the weapons display, her antenna twitching with scientific curiosity. These readings, the acceleration calculations, they're impossible. No, Tom corrected her. Not impossible. Just forgotten. Human ships were never primitive. We just made everyone think they were. Through the bridge viewport, they watched as the pirate fleet spread out in an attack formation. Their sleek, modern ships bristled with energy weapons and plasma cannons. Captain Drake's voice crackled through the comm system one last time. This is your final chance. Relic. Power down or be destroyed. Tom activated the ship's external cameras, giving them a clear view of Thunder's hull. Massive panels were sliding open, revealing row after row of weapon ports. Each one contained a mass driver capable of launching projectiles at speeds that approached a significant fraction of light speed. Think about it, Tom said to the stunned alien team. Why would humanity agree to stop building these ships unless they were too powerful? Why would we switch to energy weapons when kinetic weapons worked so well? The answer was becoming clear to the researchers. The Treaty of Centauri hadn't been about limiting human technology. It had been about preventing humanity from building more planet killers. Mass drivers fully charged, the AI announced. Target solutions computed, awaiting fire command. The pirate ships began charging their weapons, their energy signatures lighting up Thunder sensors. They still believed they were facing an obsolete warship, not understanding the true danger before them. You should all secure yourselves, Tom warned, reaching for the final firing controls. This is why these ships were banned. The alien team quickly strapped themselves into nearby acceleration chairs. Through the main viewport, they could see the pirate vessel's shields shimmer into existence. Beautiful, sophisticated energy barriers designed to stop any modern weapon. Commence firing sequence, Tom commanded. HMS Thunder's response was devastating. The mass drivers activated in sequence, launching their tungsten projectiles at speeds that made them nearly invisible to the naked eye. The massive warship shuddered with each shot, its ancient frame designed to handle forces that would tear modern ships apart. The pirates realized their mistake too late. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons and plasma bolts, might as well have been tissue paper against objects moving at relativistic speeds. The laws of physics couldn't be denied. The first salvo streaked across space like artificial meteors. The alien researchers watched in stunned silence as their sensors tried to track the projectiles, but they were moving too fast. Full firing solution deployed. The AI reported calmly. Impact in 3, 2, 1. Thunder's primitive weapons were about to demonstrate why humanity had been forced to hide their true capabilities. Sometimes, the old ways weren't just the best ways. They were the most terrifying. Space lit up like a newborn star as HMS Thunder's first salvo reached its targets. The tungsten rods, moving at relativistic speeds, passed through the pirates' energy shields as if they didn't exist. The impact was devastating. The first pirate ship, struck by 3 projectiles, simply ceased to exist. There was no dramatic explosion, no spreading debris field. The kinetic energy was so great that the ship's matter was practically vaporized on contact. By the gods, Marcus whispered, all 4 eyes wide with horror and awe. That's impossible. Tom's hands remained steady on the controls as he adjusted Thunder's targeting solutions. No, that's physics. Pure, simple physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. And when the acceleration is high enough, the remaining pirate ships scattered like startled prey, their confident attack formation broken. Captain Drake's voice screamed over the comm system, all previous arrogance gone. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Their weapons are penetrating our... His transmission cut off as another salvo from Thunder's mass drivers found their mark. The alien research team watched in stunned silence as their sensors tried to make sense of what they were seeing. The pirates' supposedly invincible shields, the pride of modern engineering, meant nothing against weapons that moved faster than the shields could react. 2 hostile vessels destroyed, the AI reported calmly. 3 remaining targets attempting to achieve FTL jump velocity. Tom adjusted the targeting controls. Thunder switched to wide pattern suppression fire. Don't let them escape. The massive warship responded instantly. Its mass drivers began firing in a spreading pattern, creating a web of hypervelocity projectiles that made escape nearly impossible. The space around the pirate ships became a deadly maze of tungsten rods moving at speeds that violated their understanding of warfare. Look at the targeting systems, one of the junior researchers exclaimed, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. They're not just firing randomly. The spread patterns, they're calculated to account for quantum probability. Tom nodded as he fine-tuned the next barrage. Human weapons were never primitive. We just understood that sometimes the simplest solution is the best. Why build complicated energy weapons when you can just throw rocks really, really fast? Another pirate ship vanished in a flash of light, its matter converted to energy by the sheer force of impact. The remaining 2 vessels were trapped, unable to plot a safe jump trajectory through Thunder's deadly field of fire. Attention hostile vessels, Tom broadcast on all frequencies. This is HMS Thunder. Your shields cannot stop our weapons. Your ships cannot outrun our projectiles. Surrender or be destroyed. The response was immediate. The 2 remaining pirate ships powered down their weapons, their engines dying as they raised the universal signal of surrender. Marcus floated closer to the weapons console, his scientific mind trying to process what he had witnessed. All this time, we thought human technology was inferior because it was different. But you weren't inferior at all, were you? No, Tom replied, initiating Thunder's capture protocols. We just learned different lessons from our wars. While other species focused on better shields, we focused on weapons that couldn't be stopped. While they built complex energy weapons, we perfected the art of kinetic bombardment. The main screen showed the pirate ships being drawn in by Thunder's gravity tractors, another primitive system that had proven devastatingly effective. The battle had lasted less than 5 minutes, and 3 of the most feared pirate vessels in the Outer Rim had been reduced to atoms. Research Vessel Horizon. Tom called over the comm. "The threat has been neutralized. You can power up your systems now." As the alien research team looked out at the aftermath of the battle, they finally understood. The Treaty of Centauri hadn't been about limiting primitive human technology. It had been about preventing humanity from building more ships like Thunder, vessels that could render any defense useless, that could threaten entire worlds with weapons so simple they couldn't be countered. Sometimes they realized the most dangerous technology wasn't the most advanced. Sometimes it was the technology simple enough to work when everything else failed. And humanity had mastered that art long ago. 3 days after the battle, HMS Thunder floated serenely in space alongside the research vessel Horizon. Inside Thunder's massive bridge, Tom Reed watched as teams of wide-eyed alien scientists documented every inch of the ancient warship. Their earlier mockery had been replaced by a deep, almost religious respect. Marcus approached Tom, his blue skin having finally returned to its normal shade. "The Galactic Science Council won't believe our reports," he said, all 4 eyes blinking in sequence. A single Thunder-class vessel defeated 5 modern warships in less than 5 minutes. "They'll believe it," Tom replied, gesturing to the captured pirate ships secured in Thunder's massive docking bay. "The evidence is pretty hard to ignore." The alien researchers had spent days analyzing Thunder systems, and each discovery led to more questions. What they had dismissed as primitive technology was revealing itself to be elegant in its devastating simplicity. The mass drivers, one of the junior researchers called out from her station. "We finally calculated their full capabilities." She paused, her antenna trembling. "A single salvo from this ship could crack a planet's crust." Tom nodded solemnly. "Now you understand why they called them planet killers, and why the Treaty of Centauri banned their construction." Marcus settled into a chair next to Tom, his scientific curiosity evident. But why agree to stop building them? Why switch to energy weapons that were clearly less effective? "Because sometimes winning isn't worth the cost," Tom explained, bringing up historical records on the main screen. "These ships were too powerful, too dangerous. Humanity could have dominated the galaxy with this technology, but at what price?" The screen showed images from the First Interstellar War, where Thunder-class vessels had demonstrated their terrifying capabilities. Entire fleets reduced to vapor, planets scared by kinetic bombardment, the laws of physics turned into weapons of mass destruction. "So we chose a different path," Tom continued. "We signed the treaties, agreed to use standardized energy weapons, pretended our old technology was primitive and obsolete. It was better than starting an arms race nobody could win." A transmission from the Galactic Council interrupted their conversation. The captured pirates had confirmed everything. Their supposedly invincible shields had been useless against Thunder's weapons. The myth of human technological inferiority was shattered. "What happens now?" Marcus asked, watching as more research vessels arrived to study the legendary warship. Tom smiled slightly. "Thunder goes to a museum, where she belongs. Her weapons will be permanently deactivated, but she'll serve as a reminder." "A reminder of what?" "That humanity didn't advance past this technology because we had to. We chose to. There's a difference." As the days passed, more details about Thunder's capabilities emerged. The alien researchers discovered that what they had thought were design flaws were actually carefully crafted deceptions. Every primitive feature had hidden purposes. Every outdated system concealed devastating power. But the greatest revelation came when they decoded Thunder's final mission logs. She hadn't been lost in battle or abandoned in space. She had been deliberately hidden, along with others of her kind, preserved as a last resort if humanity ever needed them again. Marcus found Tom in the ship's memorial hall, studying the names of Thunder's original crew. "The Council is talking about revising the Treaty of Centauri," he said quietly. "They'll want to ban this technology all over again," Tom replied. "And we'll agree, just like we did before." "But why?" "You could demand anything now. The galaxy knows what human ships are capable of." Tom turned to face his alien colleague, his expression serious. Because real strength isn't about having the most powerful weapons. It's about knowing when not to use them. As research teams continued their work, HMS Thunder's AI kept a silent watch. Deep in its quantum processors, it held coordinates to other sleeping giants, more Thunder-class vessels waiting in the darkness of space. They would remain hidden, their primitive technology a reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most dangerous. The aliens had laughed at the Relic, but they weren't laughing anymore. They had learned what humanity had known all along. True power doesn't always look advanced, and the old ways are sometimes the deadliest. And somewhere in deep space, other Thunder-class ships waited silently, ready to roar to life if they were ever needed again. The end.